Hello, everybody. Nick Morganson here from the Empty the Bench podcast network. And boy, do we have an incredible story to share with you right now. And as we wait for some more people to come in, if you want to find where we are, youtube.com/ETB network. For everything, please go subscribe over to our YouTube channel. That would be gladly appreciated. So please go check us out over there. Okay, as I see some people coming in, we have breaking news out of the National Basketball Association. And this happened at the Fanatics Fest event in New York, which I was at yesterday. The Phoenix Suns trade Kevin Durant to the Houston Rockets for Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks, the number 10 overall pick in 2025, and 5 second-round picks. Well, what's my first reaction? Well, am I shocked? No, I am not shocked by any means whatsoever. Am I shocked by the team that Kevin Durant ended up with? No, not at all. Well, actually, should I say no? No, let me take that back. I should say I'm a little surprised that he ended up with the Houston Rockets. By the way, if you want to drop your comments on Twitter and YouTube, where all this is being streamed, please drop your comments. We will go through this as we break down this news. And if you're just joining us, the Suns have traded Kevin Durant to the Houston Rockets. So let's break this trade down, okay? Jalen Green, really, really good player. You knew that the Rockets were going to have to part with some players. Jalen Green is a really good player. Dillon Brooks, he's just an instigator. I think the Rockets were just done and didn't want to deal with his contract and anything anymore, so they just threw him in the deal. And that was pretty much that. The number 10 overall pick in 2025, not a bad thing, considering the Suns were a terrible team. So that pick actually looks better for the Phoenix Suns. So I don't know. I don't know how to feel about this trade at first glance when I really look at it. But how many times has Kevin Durant been freaking traded? I mean, he got traded from the Nets to the where'd he get traded to? Off the top of my head, I'm forgetting at the moment. But he got traded from the Nets to the Suns. Then now he's getting traded from the Suns to the Rockets. I mean, this guy can't be a leader of a team. Okay? He's proven that he can't be a leader of this team. And that is the frustrating angle that is been the career of Kevin Durant. This guy can't lead. This guy's a follower, not a leader. And I dare people otherwise to tell me that this guy could be a leader, because this guy can't lead for shit. I mean, the championships that he's won are because of Steph Curry. Even though Kevin Durant won the Finals MVP award, that's all well and dandy. But he was never the leader of the team. When he went to the Nets, he said, I'm going to go to the Nets. I'm going to lead this team. Me and Kyrie and eventually James Harden, we were 3 centimeters of a three-pointer away from going to the NBA Finals. By the way, I'm a Nets fan, but that's neither here nor there. That didn't happen. Then he finds his way out of Brooklyn to go to Phoenix. I'm going to win here. This is going to be my career. I'm going to be a Phoenix Sun. Well, that didn't work. The big 3 disaster between him and Bradley Beal and Devin Booker just did not work out whatsoever. And it put them way over the salary cap by $50 million. Like they were way over just on those 3 guys alone. So what did you expect to happen in Phoenix? Did you really expect them to win a title? If there's any Phoenix Suns fans watching this right now, please tell me or try to explain to me if you ever thought you were going to win a title. Bradley Beal has been a disaster in Phoenix, and he's basically strong-arming his no-trade clause. So he just can't go anywhere. And That's why the Suns were never going to win a title. And it was funny just because Kevin Durant was caught trolling on the NBA Sentinel account. And I'm trying to see if I can find that tweet because I thought it was funny. But wow, just like Kevin Durant traded again, Kevin Durant having to deal with all this bull crap. And you know what? He deserves everything that has happened to him. Okay? Because this guy is more worried about his reputation and everything that's going on rather than saying, you know what? I got to figure out how to win a title. Now, I get it. Everyone's going to say, but Nick, he won titles in Golden State. Yeah, but he wasn't the leader in Golden State. Was he a big factor? Yes, he was a huge factor in why they won. And I understand, excuse me, because he was the NBA Finals MVP. So what? He's such an ego off the court that it becomes a headache to watch everything that he does. I could care less about all the antics and whatnot that go on off the court because he's just a crazed maniac. I mean that sincerely. And by the way, no one is a moron. You don't think they strategically placed that announcement at Fanatics Fest in New York so that they could get a live reaction from everybody? I was there yesterday, okay? I was there at the Javits Center in New York City, and he's been there the last couple of days. You don't think that his team and everybody around him said, you know what? It would be great if we made the announcement at Fanatics Fest where everybody can react and everyone can take their phone and shoot this video and let's make news out of it. That's what Kevin Durant is. Kevin Durant is more of a egotistical maniac who is willing to he loves the attention, but he's never going to be a team guy. He's never going to be a team guy. And that's the big problem here. Now, on the trade side of things, I don't know how the Houston Rockets pulled it off where they didn't lose Şengün, their big up-and-coming young star. I'm surprised they didn't have to give Şengün up in this deal to get Kevin Durant. Because we heard rumors when the Rockets were one of the potential trade suitors in this deal was that, they're gonna force Şengün into the deal in order to give Kevin Durant to the Rockets. Well, I think that Kevin Durant played his hand partially, saying he wanted to play for the Houston Rockets, and that basically gave momentum to everybody involved. And basically, Kevin Durant didn't make it easy for the Suns to get enough value for what they were giving up. But at the same time, Kevin Durant is 37 years old? I mean, Kevin Durant is not the same guy he was years ago. Like when the Nets traded him to Phoenix, they got a huge haul back, knowing that Kevin Durant was basically showing his way out, walking out the door of Brooklyn. Okay? Kevin Durant will never be the proper leader, the proper winner that he wants to be. Okay? And now it's going to be Houston's problem to deal with the salary issues on top of it. And by the way, I just came across something else as well, because this guy is a huge troll fest on social media. So I found the comment. So I love this account. So the NBA Central account, which is a parody account, by the way, they put out the Phoenix Suns reportedly had multiple fist fights in the locker room this past season per Boogie Cousins, which is kind of funny. I love when these accounts go after Kevin Durant because then Kevin Durant's going to respond. And let me see if I could pull that up while we're sitting here. But it's unbelievable. It's amazing to me. Let's see if I can share this here. Here we go. Look at this. Look at this. Okay? I mean, and of course he has to quote tweet because he's going to be a troll. I have to contest this 94-footer. This is some bullshit to throw on us. Yeah. We were trash this year. Ha ha ha. But we never got close to this. Never. Dude, just leave it alone. Why do you have to answer everything? Why do you have to answer every charge? Because you're making it sound like you did it. Okay? You're putting yourself in the fire. Let this stupid parody account do what it wants. You're giving more attention to NBA Central. And look, if you could see the numbers on the bottom, this tweet got read 14 million times. Whose fault is that? That's Kevin Durant. And then, of course, you see, I love this. DeMarcus Cousins responds down on the bottom. It says, the source was one of your teammates, Killa, and I wasn't referring to you. Save this shit for the others, homie. So, I just thought you'd find that interesting where you look at this shit and you say, Kevin Durant is a sensitive human being who can't control his anger and is just going to keep demanding to be traded to a team because he thinks he's better than sliced bread. I know that's a cliche. I know that people are probably going to get mad at that, but Kevin Durant is just going to keep demanding out of cities until there are no teams left for him to be part of. And I love how ESPN is jumping all over this. And they've already tweeted out this potential starting lineup in Houston: Fred VanVleet, Amon Thompson, Kevin Durant, Jabari Smith Jr., and Alfred Sengun. On paper, is it a good lineup? Of course it is. It's a great lineup. But is Kevin Durant going to take over the spotlight when the Rockets have a young core that they're building on? Because Kevin Durant's going to want to touch the ball all the time. Which means you're going to take the ball out of Amon Thompson's hands. You're going to take the ball out of Jabari Smith Jr.'s hand. Or Alfred Sengun. I want Sengun to touch the ball more than a 37-year-old Kevin Durant. Like, explain this to me. Okay? Because, don't get me wrong, Kevin Durant is a decent player. I get it. But maybe it's time to just move on and let other people do stuff. And I see another thing that someone tweeted out here, which is also funny. So Kevin Durant completed the NBA Rainbow Challenge. You want to know how that is? So the Rockets are red, OKC is orange or light blue, the Warriors are gold or yellow. Seattle, when they were originally the Supersonics, are green. The Suns, which were a light blue or a purple, and the Nets, which were a dark purple. I mean, that's how many fucking teams this guy has been on. So, it's just a crazy situation from the standpoint of this guy can't stay in one place and build something, but instead he's got to keep running and running and running and running away. To the point where people are just pissed off. And they don't want to deal with Kevin Durant's shit anymore. That's the point I'm trying to make. So, do we really see Houston being a championship contender? I don't know. My answer is no right now. Because, again, chemistry. People forget, and I think Kevin Durant forgets as well, that chemistry is a huge thing that needs to be worked out. And do you really think Kevin Durant is going to take the time to get to know his teammates? I don't know. I really don't know. And that's the biggest issue. If anyone has any comments, please drop them in the comments section and we'll react as we're talking about this story. And again, if you're just joining us, Breaking news out of the National Basketball Association, the NBA. Suns trade Kevin Durant to the Houston Rockets for Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, and the number 10 overall pick in 2025 and 5 second-round picks. By the way, the 5 second-round pick seems to be a popular thing being done in trades. We saw that in the Mikal Bridges trade between the Knicks and the Nets. I mean, those are pretty much throwaway picks at this point because second-round picks rarely pan out. But here's another interesting tidbit from Shams Charania, the number one NBA insider for ESPN. Blockbuster trade on the final day of the NBA season. The Suns engaged in deep conversations with 2 Durant finalists, Houston and Miami. Over the last 24 hours, and reached an agreement on the deal Sunday morning. So there was a lot of movement going on in the Kevin Durant trade sweepstakes. A lot. But I did. If you asked me, or you said to me, the Houston Rockets will be the winner of the sweepstakes, I would have thought you were crazy. I would have said, there's no way. And by the way, I reacted to the moment where basically he's sitting on stage with Taylor Rooks in New York at Fanatics Fest, and he finds out sitting on stage while doing his boardroom live stream that he's being traded to Houston. You're telling me he didn't know that? You're really going to bullshit everybody and say that he had no idea he was going to the Houston Rockets? He knew. He's just playing the crowd. Okay? We all know what's going to happen. We all knew that he knew. And someone said it right here. Leaking the KD trade news while he was on stage definitely felt scripted. Can't imagine the league is happy about this overshadowing Game 7 of the NBA Finals. That's a good point. Seriously. On Game 7 of the NBA Finals, which is tonight, which, by the way, we will have coverage of the NBA Finals Game 7 on our playback platform, playback.tv/ETB network, if you want to come watch along with us. But, come on. Excuse me. But it felt staged. It felt staged. It's not a good look. And I don't think he's going to succeed in Houston. But Nick, come on, give him a chance. No, not going to give him a chance. It didn't work with the Nets. It didn't work with Phoenix. And it's not going to work in Houston. Go ahead. Throw rocks and eggs and tomatoes at me. I don't care. You can clip me all you want. I don't care. It's not going to work in Houston. Okay? Because he can't be what? He can't be the leader. He will never, ever be the leader. And that's what they're expecting out of him in Houston. Again. They wanted him to be the big man in Phoenix, and it just did not work. Didn't work. Sorry. It just did not work whatsoever. And Devin Booker and Bradley Beal did not really help either. That's the interesting part of this scenario. So, that's why in no way, shape, or form it's going to work in Houston. I didn't realize this either, but apparently the Cavs made a call on Kevin Durant. That would have been a disaster. I'm just going to tell you that right now. But I'm stunned. I'm stunned he ended up in Houston. I thought, actually, I don't really know, to be honest. Like, Miami was a destination that we heard a lot. I don't really know any other places he really could have gone. Because I don't know if anyone really wanted him. The Knicks, which were rumored for many, many years, wanting him in New York. They basically came out and said, "You're damaged goods. We don't want you in New York." I don't blame them. He didn't work in Brooklyn. Why would you want him in New York with the Knicks? That's a disaster. He would have done absolutely no good for the Knicks. So, I think the Knicks dodged a bullet. And they're probably saying, thank God the Houston Rockets took on that massive contract and that massive headache. We don't have to deal with it. But you're going to get Knicks fans who are going to bitch and moan and say, I don't understand this. I don't. And people are going to be, and I'm going to say to Knicks fans, if you're listening right now too, I'm going to say the same thing, okay? What would he have changed to make that situation better? Is he a better player? Yes. I'm not denying that he's a great player and he would have made a difference. Not denying that. What I am denying is that the chemistry would have been better and he could have made that situation better. I just don't buy that at all. So I'm glad the Knicks didn't make that move. I think that was the right thing. The Knicks are going to have to go back to the drawing board because they, like as I said, they fired Thibodeau and they didn't bring in Durant. Thank God. And it looks like Giannis is going to stay put, so that whole situation is not going anywhere. But if you're the Houston Rockets right now, are you going to make a difference? Now, from finishing as a 2 seed, are you going to make the jump with Kevin Durant? That's a question I'm going to ask all of next year. Because if he gets hurt again, which is bound to happen because the guy is like the SpongeBob joke where he's glass bones and paper skin. So I don't see him being healthy all year. I don't. Question me all you want. I don't see Kevin Durant playing a full healthy season ever again. And I love this. Oh, now Stephen A is getting in the action. Because the NBA on ESPN Twitter account tweeted out, who would have thought Russ, KD, and Harden would all be Houston Rockets at some point in their careers after they were together in OKC? So Stephen A. Smith just tweeted out, excuse me. Since Dillon Brooks is gone, how about going after Russell Westbrook? The man is still a warrior, ain't backing down from anyone. Can't underestimate his toughness and dependability. Not saying it's going to happen, but wouldn't mind seeing this for KD and the Houston Rockets at all. To the hell with the past nonsense. Let's all move forward. Really? That's the answer, Stephen A. You want to put Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant back on the same team? Those guys are oil and water. Okay? They are. They're oil and water. And that's the point I'm trying to make. This situation is not better. The Houston Rockets are not better. Are you going to say from a standpoint because Kevin Durant is a star, he's better? Yeah, you could. But I see this situation blowing up in the face of the Houston Rockets. I just don't see this working. I don't. I want someone to tell me in the comments, if you're a Houston Rockets fan, do you see this? Do you see Kevin Durant taking them from a 2 seed to a 1 seed winning playoff games. Do you see that happening? Because I certainly do not. And people are going to troll me, and people are going to make clips and say, Nick, you're an asshole because you probably wanted Kevin Durant. We had Kevin Durant. I'm a Net fan. We had Kevin Durant. It did not work. I get it. You're going to say they were 3 centimeters of between the three-point line from making the NBA Finals. But he would have bitched and moaned anyway and found his way out of Brooklyn, is my point. This guy should have stayed in Golden State and continued to win titles in Golden State with Steph Curry. That's his fault. Because his ego took over him playing basketball and fitting in with a good chemistry in Golden State. They could have won another title or two if he stayed there. But no, Kevin Durant had to prove himself and say, no, you're not going to hold me back. I got to go lead my own team. And to boot, Steph Curry won a title without your ass. Good for Steph Curry. Good for Golden State for winning that title without Kevin Durant. Because Kevin Durant right now is damaged goods. Yeah, I said it. He's damaged goods. So he can go do all his off-the-court things. He's got his the boardroom content and whatnot. But he's never going to be the greatest player of all time. He just won't. He's never going to be a Michael Jordan. He's never going to be a LeBron. Kevin Durant will always be third or fourth best. Not even that. I would say he's a top 5 at best. But I could drop him down all the way like into the top 10. So, I don't know. This is a tough one. I know why the Houston Rockets made this deal, because they were desperate to make a splash. And yeah, they definitely made a splash. That's for sure. But is it the correct splash to make? Kevin Durant is going to get hurt at some point. I'm willing to mark that, book that, on June 22nd, on NBA Finals Game 7, on June 22nd, which happens tonight. I'm willing to say that Kevin Durant is going to get hurt next season. So, let's see what happens. And will he prove everybody wrong? If he proves everybody wrong, then I will admit, if he makes it through the whole season, doesn't get hurt, I'll apologize. Okay? But until then, the jury is out on Kevin Durant. Okay? As I continue to read reports, because people were shocked by the Kevin Durant deal. Also taking the attention away from the NBA Finals, which is a douchebag move, if you ask me. But I just don't know what to say, because like everyone's reacting. And I just find it funny, like everyone's interviewing him at Fanatics Fest. And I just don't know what to really say anymore, because this is shocking news. Not that he got traded. Let me be very clear about that. What I'm trying to say is that the Houston Rockets were the team that traded for him. Okay? I thought Miami would have been a trade destination. I'm trying to look through all the teams. And by the way, I appreciate everyone who's watching. If you have comments, please drop them in the comments section and we'll go through them. And if you have questions, we'll go through that as well. But I'm trying to look through all the destinations and figure out where exactly he would have fit. Okay? So let's go through the teams. Nothing in the East or in the Atlantic, I should say. I mean, I heard a ridiculous rumor of the Celtics. He was not going there. Brooklyn was out already because he played there. The Knicks, I just never saw it happening. 76ers never going to happen. Raptors not going to happen. Bulls, no. I just read you a report about the Cavs, so the Cavs made a call. Was not going to Detroit, I'll tell you that. Pacers, they're in the NBA Finals. They're not changing anything right now. Bucks, not happening. Atlanta, definitely not happening. Not the Hornets. Miami Heat was the one that I heard. Orlando would have been an interesting destination. And then he was never going to the Wizards. I'll tell you that right now. So, in the East, there was only 2 possible destinations, in my opinion, that he could have gone to. Now, on the Western Conference side, Denver, I don't think they would have made that deal. Minnesota would have been a very interesting place to play with Anthony Edwards, but he came out and said, I never wanted to play in Minnesota, which I think was a mistake. Not going to OKC, not going to Portland, not going to Utah. Golden State, he was rumored to be traded to Golden State, and he basically said, I don't want to go back there. Not going to the Clippers, not going to the Lakers. He's on the Suns. Well, he was on the Suns. Definitely not going to the Kings. The Mavs wouldn't have done it. Never would have gone to the Grizzlies. Pelicans are a shitty team. The Spurs were another reported destination. But that never happened. That would have been a great destination with him and Wemby. I mean, that would have been incredible. Incredible if he ended up there with him, with Wemby and De'Aaron Fox. That would have made the Spurs an instant contender. But you probably would have had to give up Stephon Castle, who was the Rookie of the Year and finished second in the NBA dunk contest. So Houston's a good spot, but I don't know how this is going to look. Because we talk about, well, it looks really good on paper. Well, yeah, it does look really good on paper. If you look at that starting 5, it does look good on paper. But on paper and playing on the court is 2 different things. Okay? It's 2 very different scenarios. Because anything on paper can look good. But on the court, when you need to have chemistry to perform, because last time I checked, the NBA is a team sport and not an individual sport, even though Kevin Durant and LeBron and others treat it like an individual sport from time to time because they think they have to do all the work and they have no teammates. So that's a problem right there. We'll have to see how this plays out because the Houston Rockets are a much different looking team now. And I don't know what eventually the reaction is going to be and what's going to happen. And that means they have to finish as a number 1 seed if they want a chance to prove that the trade for Kevin Durant was worth doing so. So, I don't know. I don't think personally this is going to work. A lot has to go right for them to really make this work. And I don't know. I just think a lot has to change. So it'll be interesting to see whether this deal I shouldn't say this deal coming to fruition. When he goes to Houston, will he change his attitude? And will he be able to just say, I'm willing to fit in and bring these guys to a title run? But I don't buy that either. I don't. He's got a lot of growing up to do, even at 37, 38 years old, whatever he is. So he's got to grow up. He's got to learn that no one wants to deal with his ego and attitude and angst and all that stuff. But Houston is going to be under the microscope all of next year, next season. Because now that they have Kevin Durant, that means they got to make a run. That means they're going to be announced, or I shouldn't say announced, but seen as a title contender. Because that's what's going to happen. They are going to be a title contender now, or treated as a title contender. Because when you have Kevin Durant, that means the microscope is on you. Do you realize now that Kevin Durant is in a Houston uniform? Get ready to see a lot of Houston Rockets games on national television. Because everyone wants eyeballs on Kevin Durant and how he's going to handle being in Houston. Okay? And it's going to be awkward when he goes back to Phoenix. It's going to still be awkward when he goes back to Golden State. It's going to be awkward when he goes back to the Nets. So he's creating a whole scenario. That's funny. JG paints his nails. Houston won the trade. Yes. I don't know if I'd say Houston won the trade. But Suns are triggity. That's true. The Suns are trash. They're in a bad spot. And like I said earlier, what are the Suns going to do now? Because Bradley Beal is a mess, making way too much money. And he basically doesn't want to be there anymore. Devin Booker is a really, really good player. But in my opinion, Devin Booker should demand out of the Suns and go somewhere else. Because the Suns are just not a good environment. They went through the ownership change. They're having the TV issue where they're basically airing on their own digital TV network, except for national games. So there's a lot going on in Phoenix. And they are no longer the big three that everyone was hoping them to be. It seems like Kevin Durant, every time Kevin Durant is part of a big three, it works, but it fizzles out. When they announce the lineup, they'll be like starting at starting guard the whole team. That's so true because they have no idea who's going to be playing what position. That's a good point. If I'm a Phoenix Suns fan, I'd run for the hills. I'd run for the hills because there is no salvaging, that team whatsoever. They're gonna fall like a bad stock. You know that red line you see on where it looked like they were going up. Now they're going to be going down. Okay, because they are going to be one of the worst teams in the NBA next season. Because they're overpaying a bunch of guys. And they don't know what to do with that situation. They don't. That's a good point, Jen. KD is so selfish. No one wants to play with him. He's a locker room cancer. Yeah, I agree with that. Kevin Durant will always be a locker room cancer. And it's just a funny situation with him. Okay, so you're a Celtics fan. I'm cooked next season. JT really fit up. Yes. I feel bad for Celtics fan. We actually have a Celtics fan on our network, Ben Cruz, who I kind of feel bad for because of Jason Tatum going down with that injury, and Jaylen Brown announcing after the last game of the series against the Knicks that he was playing through an injury most of the season. So, yeah, I get that totally. Tough scenario. And like I said, if you're just joining us, you can watch this back on replay if you didn't see the whole thing. But the Suns trade Kevin Durant to the Houston Rockets for Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, and the number 10 overall pick in 2025 and 5 second-round picks, which, by the way, those 5 second-round picks are throwaways. That was probably more just to even out the back-end part of the deal. So, I don't know. This is just ridiculous, the way this whole thing is happening. In my personal opinion, is that KD needs to hang it up. No one wants to play with him, and he's just being bounced around. I'd say yes and no. I think some of that is right, and some of that is wrong. I would say KD should retire soon because he's already 37, 38 years old. It's not that he's getting bounced around. Let's be very clear about that. He is demanding to be traded. So let's not say he's being bounced around. He's demanding to be traded to other organizations because he keeps, in his mind, he keeps thinking, oh, if I keep going to another team, I'll eventually find one that I fit in with. But that so far has not happened. So that's the massive issue going on. Yeah, but Houston was a second seed and they got rid of Zasty Chucker for the Slim Reaper. So yeah, Jenny, they got to be. Oh, jeez. But my point is, Houston now has to fit the bill because they went out and got the big star, and they got to figure out how they're going to be a number one seed because that's the pressure they're putting themselves under. And now they got to figure out how to win a few playoff games because it's going to be a letdown if they don't win at least 2 rounds now with Kevin Durant. And I mean that seriously. I'm not saying that as a joke. They were a 2 seed. They better win at least 1, maybe 2 rounds at this rate, the way it's going. So that's what they got to do. Tari Eason, Amon, are you kidding? That's exactly who you put next to KD, some dogs. I mean, they're good players. I get that. But Kevin Durant is a locker room cancer, as Jen said before. So you could have some really good players, some dogs that play well. But is Kevin Durant going to hurt them, help them, or hurt them? That's what I would say. I'm not saying they're bad players. But is he going to hurt their performance and their growth? Or is he going to stunt the performance and the growth of guys like Tari Eason and Amon Thompson? I don't know. I say help because they need a closer. I don't think KD's a closer, though. I don't think he's a good closer. I know, and I'm sure you're going to say to me, in Golden State, he hit a few winning shots, and he was the NBA Finals MVP. Okay, but why? Why was he a good closer? Because he had Stephen Curry. Stephen Curry was the one taking most of the big moments and the big shots. Fred was their closer last year? Okay, so I understand that, but Kevin Durant is not a clutch performer. I'm willing to say that right now. And you can hit me in the comments all you want that I'll take my chances. Okay, fine. Take your chances. But when he blows up and has a horrible situation, he gets hurt and can't play most of the season, what are you going to say then? That's the point I'm trying to make. This is not a winning situation for Houston. That's why I was surprised when Houston was willing to make the trade. I mean that seriously. There were so many other organizations that I think would have made sense. KD wants to go to a team where he is the leader and is the face of the franchise. But as I said, no one wants him around because he's a locker room cancer. I'll make your statement even better, Jim. What I will say, he wants to be the leader and the face of the franchise, but he actually doesn't want to do it. He wants to be known as the leader and the face of the franchise, but he's not actually going to go through with it because he can't do it. He'll act. He'll be a figurehead as a leader and a figurehead as a lead of an organization, but he's never going to take on the leadership role of an organization. He won the titles in Golden State because of Steph Curry. If Steph Curry's not there, Golden State doesn't have the dynasty. Kevin Durant doesn't have an NBA Finals MVP. And Kevin Durant is not the name he is. As an individual statistics player, yes, he will always have the statistics. And he eventually will probably be a Hall of Famer. He will be a Hall of Famer. But he didn't earn his rings. Steph Curry got him his rings. Kevin Durant is, like I said, is more worried about the off-the-court stuff than he is the on-the-court stuff. And I mean that sincerely, honestly, because most people are Kevin Durant apologists. Just like they're LeBron James apologists. Oh, well, we'll give LeBron the benefit of the doubt, blah, 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 blah. I don't want to hear it. The difference between LeBron and Kevin Durant is LeBron will actually take the leadership role and run with it. This is a puzzle, bro. It's a team game. I already said that. I said it's a team game. I mean that. But Kevin Durant is not going to fit in as part of a team. He never will. You're telling me that he's going to fit in with Şengün and Tari Eason and Amon Thompson. Those guys are much younger than he is. Kevin Durant is going to be more worried, put the ball in my hands. This one I agree with. Bron is also holding the Lakers back from a rebuild jumpstart. I agree with you. Totally. You're 100% right on this one. But at the same time, LeBron is more willing to be the leader than sit back and let somebody else do the work. That one you can't fight me on. First of all, LeBron is 40 years old. I'm surprised LeBron is still competing and playing at the way he is, the level he is. Now, LeBron is one of the is one of the best physical specimens in the NBA because he takes care of his body every year. But I do agree with you that Bron is holding the Lakers back from a rebuild jumpstart. I agree. But the Lakers are so desperate that they're willing to do whatever it takes. Hey, heck, did you hear the news that the Buss family just got sold for a $10 billion valuation? And basically the Buss family got out except for Jeannie Buss, who's going to stay on as the governing officer or the governing partner. And she's still going to make all the decision making. So marketing and money is more important in LA. But LeBron is more the leader type than Kevin Durant. Oh, God. Yeah, because the NBA allowed Bron to take PEDs so he could break all these records. Haha. Also a conspiracy, but I think... Really? First of all, I don't think LeBron is taking PEDs. That was a... Excuse me. I think that was a ridiculous conspiracy theory that came out. There's no proof or no reports to it whatsoever. First of all, I think No 40-year-old can do what he does. Okay, you have to remember, these guys are, I said, physical specimens. LeBron, look at Tom Brady. Look at LeBron. These guys spend like $1 million to $2 million a year to keep their bodies in shape. So these guys are so used to keeping their bodies in shape for all these years. I'm not surprised. And I'm the biggest LeBron hater there is. And I'm telling you, I think because LeBron does an incredible job every year of keeping his body in shape, that's why he's still playing at the age of 40. But there's no proof or support to figure this out. That's the point I'm trying to make. So there's no way to prove it, whether he took it. But I do agree with you. He's 40 years old and he's still playing at a high level. But I'm not 100% sure of why. KD needs to play for the Dimsdale Blogs because that's his whole nature. That's funny. But that's pretty much the news at this point. Like I said, Suns trade Kevin Durant to the Houston Rockets for Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks, and the number 10 overall pick in 2025 and 5 second-round picks. I was kind of scrolling around on social to see the reactions, to see if anybody else is kind of reacting to any of this. But I was a little shocked by the trade destination. I thought the Heat were really the number one destination to be, but obviously the Houston Rockets stepped up and really made a deal. And we're really desperate to get moving on this. At this point, if I'm D-Book, I want out. Send me to Detroit, my hometown. You know what? I laugh at that, but maybe that's not such a bad thing. Detroit is a young battling team. They're starting to figure it out. They had a huge comeback. Maybe that's not such a bad thing. Maybe not. But it's a good fit too. Yeah. I mean, it's not a terrible fit. It's all a matter of if Devin Booker want to go to Detroit and how much Detroit's willing to give up to get Devin Booker. I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be mad with that. Bradley Beal is the one you're going to have a problem with because he's basically got an ironclad no trade clause. Like I said earlier. So that's what they're going to have to figure out. But I'll be interested to see once Kevin Durant gets to Houston and starts to really get entrenched into the culture. Will they be able to handle it? Yeah, Brad's deal ruined that team. Yes, absolutely. 1,000% that his deal ruined the Suns franchise. So I don't think they're ever going to be able to get him out in a trade. I don't know. I've never seen someone act so ironclad in not wanting to be moved as a no trade clause. I just saw another Shams report that the Heat wouldn't include Jamie Jaquez Jr., Nikola Jovic, Haywood Highsmith, and number 20 pick or draft assets in a deal for Kevin Durant. If that was the case, Houston should have made that deal. I mean, excuse me, Miami should have made that deal. If they didn't have to trade Hero or Adebayo and they were able to make that deal for Durant, holy crap, that would have been a scary team. Imagine having those three play together. Now, do I think they would have won a title? Probably not. But who knows? I don't know. They should have, if the Heat were willing to part with those pieces, they should have made that deal. They'd compete too. Or they'd compete though. Yes, they would definitely compete. The one that I'm still getting over is there was a report that the Cavs were among the wild card suitors for Kevin Durant. What was Cleveland going to trade? They have a lot of really good players. Who are they trading? You're not breaking up a lot of those players to trade for Kevin Durant. The only reason Cleveland didn't finish the job to get to the finals was because of the injuries. Too many injuries. And the Pacers just came red hot. So I think it was just a matter of timing and injury. But I wouldn't send him to Cleveland. I definitely would not bring him to Cleveland. So let's see what happens. Let's see how this plays out in Houston. And oh, that's a good point. Cavs would have been dumb to trade for KD. Even Jared Allen would have been too high of an asking price. Yeah, I agree with you on that. I like Jared Allen too. He was on my Nets before they traded him away. So, I don't know. It's an interesting scenario. We'll have to see how everything plays out. But the Houston Rockets are now in the spotlight. Whether they created the spotlight or not is another story. I love Jared. He's a baller. Yes, absolutely. This guy is a rebounding machine. This guy could make double-doubles happen if he just worked on his scoring a little bit more. I mean that sincerely. If he could figure that out. One last reminder before we head out of here, because this has been an hour, and I think that's probably good for this news. Make sure you follow us, youtube.com/ETB Network. Please subscribe. It helps our numbers. We're getting closer to 1,000 subs on our YouTube channel. Please go over and hit the subscribe button. We're doing a lot of content on YouTube. We're doing a lot of content with our sponsor partner, Playback TV. So playback.tv/ETB Network as well. Final thoughts here as we get more comments coming in. 82 games, bro. Iron Man. Yes. And thank you for the sub. I appreciate it. That means a lot. I like doing these live streams. I haven't had a chance to do it in a while. So if more people sub to the YouTube channel and we really grow that side over 1,000 subs, I'll come back and do more of these live streams, and we'll do some more of these live streams because I can tell that the YouTube audience and the Twitter audience and everybody is listening. So please subscribe, like I said, and we'll do more of these breaking news streams. And we'll talk more. We'll talk more shop. I'm a big NBA guy, so I'm sure there's going to be more news coming throughout the season. Also, as we transition on our Playback TV side, we will watch the NBA Finals Game 7 tonight. Game starts at 8 p.m. Eastern, half an hour earlier than most of the games. We are going to do a half an hour pre-show, so make sure you join us then. But that'll do it. I'm Nick Morgeson. Kevin Durant traded from the Suns to the Rockets, and we will talk soon.